Happy week 9, everybody. Welcome into the BettingPros NFL live stream. It's Matt and Pat with you guys back again for another 30 to 35 minutes, breaking down everything happening in week 9. Pat Fitzmaurice, Matt Perrault with you guys. Underway in Germany. More on that here in just one second. But Pat, how are you? Welcome to breaking down what might be the ugliest slate of the year so far in the NFL. How are you on this Sunday morning?
Doing well, Mr. Perrault. Thank you for letting me be your sidekick today. Yeah, it's an interesting slate today. I won't say it's a great slate, but interesting.
The word for it is interesting. A lot of backup quarterbacks, a lot of guys who probably aren't household names playing quarterback, D2 quarterbacks, and guys like Clayton Tune. And we got Deshaun Watson's back, so I guess you could look at him, and that number is ridiculous. We'll talk about that here in just one second. But I'm on the Dolphins plus 1.5 here. They've made it a game. It's 21-14. I told you before the show, I took at plus 17.5. I took Miami at halftime here. So I got two bets going in this ridiculous football game. But what do you make of what's happening in Germany right now?
Yeah, we talked about this, Matt. I'm on the Dolphins on the money line, and we both hated that the Chiefs didn't get over until Friday. You know, like we feel that with the long flights and the time zone adjustment, like it makes sense to go over there early as the Dolphins did. So, yeah, I mean, like you said, we're still alive in this one, and hopefully it comes through. But man, Miami just both teams looked really flat offensively out of the gates.
So I work with like 15 different companies. One of my other jobs, I work for SportsGrid. On SportsGrid, a guy named Cam Stewart has a thing called dumpster diving. We're going to start with the dumpster dive bet of the day. And this is what's going on with the Falcons and the Vikings. I took plus 4.5. Maybe I'm a complete idiot. Maybe I'm on my own here, but I don't know. I feel like this is a field goal game one way or the other. I'm taking 4.5. We got ridiculous quarterbacks in this game. Both these teams aren't any good. What do you make of Vikings, Falcons? This number's down to 3.5, if you can believe that. The total 38.5 now for this one.
You know, I'm in a pool where you have to make a pick in every game. And I took the Vikings. So I feel like that if you're forcing me to go somewhere, but you know, as far as betting this one on my own, Matt, just couldn't bring myself to do it. I just don't have enough faith in the Vikings with 5th round rookie Jaren Hall at quarterback. But I do like the under here, Matt. 6 of the Falcons, 8 games have gone under. 7 of the Vikings, 8 games have gone under. So we are looking at a couple of under-prone teams here. And, you know, we've got 2 backup quarterbacks playing. It's not just Jaren Hall. It's also Taylor Heineke. And not that there's any real drop-off from Desmond Ridder to Taylor Heineke, but no Drake London there. So it feels like this one is going to be a rock fight.
Are you surprised that Arthur Smith made this call to go to Heineke? Because, I mean, they made the call last year to bench Mariota to bring in Ridder, who they drafted in the 2nd round. And obviously things aren't working out very well. Are things going to go better with Heineke, in your opinion?
I don't know. With the play calling Arthur Smith likes, does this mean it's going to get the ball to Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London more often? Probably not with Arthur Smith calling the plays. So might just be a lateral move here, quite honestly.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I'm taking the points. I think the Vikings. It's ugly. Okay, my first play, but this is involving a teaser. Seattle and Baltimore. This number opened up at 4.5. It's been steamed to 6.5 at certain books, but it's coming back down. We're seeing movement now on Seattle. The total is 44.5. It's been pretty much either 43 or 44 the entire week. Seattle on the road up against the Ravens. It does feel heavy, and that's why I'm going to tease this. I'm taking the Ravens down to a pick from 6. I'll get the other leg here in a second, but what do you make of this one? Because I know a lot of people that like Seattle.
I like that. I mean, I like your decision to tease it, Matt. This one opened at 5.5, and I felt good about taking the Ravens at 5.5. I don't feel as good about it at 6.5. And the Seahawks are 4-1-1 against the spread in their last 6. But the Ravens have won 3 straight, and they've won all of them by at least a touchdown. Like they are on a roll. Plus, we've got a West Coast team going out east to start in the early afternoon window. Typically does not work out well for the West Coast team traveling. You know, so I've got a little something on the Ravens here, although I got it earlier at the smaller number. And another case where I like the under here, Matt. We've seen 8 of the Seahawks last 12 play to the under, and 12 of the Ravens last 18. 9 of the Ravens' last 10 home games have gone under. Opponents tend not to put up a lot of points at M&T Bank Stadium.
It's true. I can see that. I mean, a lot of running in this game. I think Seattle will try to run the football on the Ravens. The Ravens, we know they're going to try to run the football as well. I just think somehow, some way, the Ravens find a way to win the game. I just don't think they win the game by 7 points or more. That number just seems to be a little bit too heavy. Just give
Agreed.
And look, you like the under, I like the dog. So, I guess teasing it down to having a money line. So, if I could also see teasing it up, though, by the way. If you really like Seattle and you want to tease it up to 12, I don't mind that either, because I think if the Ravens do win, I don't think they win the game by double digits. That would be somewhat surprising if they blew out Seattle, but let's see. Arizona, the biggest dog of the day. Everyone's on Cleveland. If you have a mythical or a real fantasy survivor pool, I have a mythical one that's still alive, but a real one, I'm on Cleveland too. 8.5 has spiked to 13 with a total of 38. How many points, Pat, did the Cardinals score today?
Oh my goodness. It seems like it would be a stretch for them to get to 17, Matt, with Clayton Tune at quarterback. And, like we just found out, no Michael Wilson today. No Amari DiMercato. So, I mean, they're down to like their third string running back with Keontae Ingram. Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals have lost 5 straight, and all of those losses have been by a touchdown or more. So it's hard to see them hanging with the Browns in the dog pound. But not that we have a great deal of faith in Deshaun Watson at this point. I don't know how we could. So, man, like this was 7.5 points earlier in the week. At 12.5, I don't know if I can take the Browns. But I'm definitely not taking the Cardinals either.
Yeah, on a money line survivor play, that's the bet here in this game. Otherwise, this is a complete no play for me. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm not laying 13 points with Deshaun Watson, who may or may not be able to throw the football. Cleveland's at home with that defense, but the under may be the best play in that game. We've talked a lot about the unders already so far, which is typical for the NFL because no one scores anymore in the NFL. It's just all defense and low scoring games. It's like watching Iowa football play every single week for every single team. It's just under every time. The Rams are taking on Green Bay. There's been some pretty interesting lineup announcements here in this game. Green Bay at home. They're now 4 or 3.5 point favorites. It opened at 4, or actually opened up with the Rams -1 was the first opener. Flipped to 4. 3.5, some buyback a little bit, but again, a really low total of 37.5 in this one. Can you trust one Mr. Jordan Love to do anything spectacular here today?
I don't know that I can, Matt. At the same time, I can't really see Brett Rippon coming into Green Bay with a warm weather team. It's not too cold here in the upper Midwest today, so it's not like it's going to be some snow game or anything like that, but still, I don't know if I could see the Rams winning, in which case I can't take them with the points. But I also don't feel great about giving more than 3 points to the Rams here. So this is one I'm just kind of walking away from.
This is one of my prop bets. The only thing I've got going in the game is one of my prop bets because I've been betting it consistently this year. But Luke Musgraves has been kind of the binky for Jordan Love, and his number is only 26.5 for receiving yardage here. How do you feel about the tight end getting some targets here from Jordan Love as he tries to find his way in this offense?
Yeah, I kind of like it, man. I mean, Love does, for all his struggles, he does take some shots downfield. And it seems like when he goes to the second or third read short, it's often Luke Musgrave. And I was kind of hoping Luke Musgrave would be used as more of a vertical tight end. That really hasn't been the case, but he is sort of his binky. So I'm on board with this one. I like it.
Over 26.5 for Luke Musgrave. And remember, I bet these things to win a quarter unit. You can do whatever you want with it. I don't bet heavily with prop bets. They're more like this fun bets for me as the game goes on. I don't invest heavily, but if you want it, there it is. Luke Musgrave. It's at -110 at most sports books. Tampa Bay at Houston. Pat, I have no idea what to do with this game. I mean, it's 3. I feel like the books are making the pros. You tell us what to bet. Again, a total of 40 in this one. I don't know. I mean, I lean Houston, I guess, but what do you make of this? I've got a bunch of players on this offense on my own fantasy team for Houston. I've done pretty well with Tank Dell and Nico Collins, but man alive, can Houston score today?
Yeah, like you, I'm not getting a real strong feeling on this one, Matt. I noticed that like in Massey Peabody, the Buccaneers are actually ranked a little bit higher than the Texans. And it feels like the market is maybe, I don't know, overvaluing the Texans just a smidge these
Fair.
days. And we kind of saw them get their comeuppance against the Panthers last week. So I think this should probably be more like a 2-point line than a 3-point line. Like basically these teams should be, if it were a neutral field, I think it should be a pick 'em and, with the home field advantage, maybe 2 points for the Texans, a little bit of value, but not enough for me to really act on it and take the Bucs.
How would you feel that this is a game I've been eyeing if I gave the Bucs 9? How'd you feel about Tampa plus 9? Because I don't know if Houston can blow out anybody at home.
Yeah, that's kind of I like that. That's kind of the way I feel. I don't see the Bucs losing by 9. And the Bucs have lost, I think, 4 of their last 5, but they've all been pretty close losses. They hung with the Bills last week. So yeah, they are playing close games. They're just not coming out on the winning end very often.
Yeah, it's one angle that I'm eyeballing on that. Well, I'll talk about the other one here in a second. The Patriots and Washington. You and I think we both agree here. 2.5 for New England. I'll let you explain. I'll tell you after why I think the Patriots win. I'm a Patriot fan, so call me a homer here, but I don't know. The Patriots at home laying less than a touchdown. I know it's 2.5, 3, depending on the book, but how do you feel about the Pats today against the Commanders?
Yeah, you're such a terrible homer here, Matt. So I'll give my unbiased take on this one. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, where do you think Washington's morale is after the edge rusher fire sale they had at the trade deadline, getting rid of Montez Sweat and Chase Young? Like, I can't imagine. Team morale is great right now, and this is a team that already had major issues defending the pass, and now they've got no pass rush whatsoever. So, not that I think Mac Jones is going to surgically pick apart anyone, but I do think he's going to be able to move the ball here. I also think Sam Howell is maybe getting more credit than he deserves. Like, this is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, like on a David Carr type sack pace. He's thrown 8 interceptions, which is one off the lead. He is responsible for a lot of negative plays for the Commanders. So I do like the Patriots at home. Yes, they're 1-4 for the month of October, and they were 1-4 against the number in October. But that lone win, pretty impressive one against the Bills. Like, if they can take care of the Bills at home, they should be able to take care of the Commanders.
Yeah, I looked at who have the Commanders played versus who have the Patriots played. And yes, there's a couple of common opponents with Philadelphia. Obviously, the Commanders playing them twice. Patriots played them as well. But I look at the Atlantas of the world. I look at some of the teams that the Commanders have faced, and the Patriots schedule has been far more difficult. And the Patriots at home have been difficult. This is Bill Belichick at home against a relatively inexperienced quarterback in Sam Howell, who has taken a ton of shots on a team that just traded away Chase Young and Montez Sweat. So what does that signify to the locker room? That we're going for it? Like, this is going to be a good season for us? You're trading away 2 of your best players. So I'm very curious about the overall effort here. And I don't know. I mean, I know Ron Rivera is a good coach, and I know he can rally the troops, if you will, but I don't know where the Commanders' heads are going to be going into this game. So I'm laying the 2.5 with the Patriots because it is a big game for the Patriots. This is a lot of people are calling this saying, wait a minute, if you can't beat the Commanders at home, this team has got real big problems beyond the talent that we see on the field. Just from a scheme perspective, this should be a game the Patriots are going to wind up winning. And you might go, well, that pass rush is so good, Mac Jones has no time. Well, is it going to be that good without the 2 best players, on that defensive front, who are now gone from the Commanders? So that's why I took the Patriots in minus 2.5 today. That number now is you can still find 2.5s. I mean, there's 2.5. DraftKings is at 2.5. There's 2.5 is at the Superbook here in town in Vegas. Circa went back to 3, but Caesars is at 2.5. So you can find the 2.5. There's some debate here about what's going to happen with the Patriots and the Commanders, but I'm laying it with the Pats, just like you. Big number. New Orleans was 5.5-point favorites. Now they're 9-point favorites. The total was 42 in this one. This is the other leg that I'm eyeballing here for a Wong teaser. And there is some discrepancy about whether you can tease 9 down to qualify for a Wong, but it does in my book because it does cross 7 and 6. And then you get to 3. If it falls 3, you push. So I think it does qualify in my opinion. But do you agree with the line move here with the Saints being a heavy favorite?
Yeah, I mean, this one was at 6 earlier in the week, Matt. I like your strategy of maybe teasing it down because I don't know if I trust the Saints to really cover this big a number. As mistake prone as they have been at times on offense with Derek Carr. But like it's hard to see Ty- Tyson Bagent
Mm.
moving the ball consistently against the Saints defense. Like the Saints defense is legit. That is a good unit. And while the Saints offense is somewhat unpredictable, I think the Saints defense is kind of a constant. So yeah, it's like I cannot see, even though the Bears have had a couple pretty convincing victories over the Commanders and Raiders this year, the Saints are a step up in class for them. I don't think the Bears are capable of winning this game.
And you have a prop in this game you like, right?
Yeah, I do. What was Alvin Kamara over 36.5 receiving yards. He has, since coming back from his 3-game suspension to open the season, averaged 8.8 targets, 7.8 catches, and 45.6 receiving yards per game. And Kamara gets a matchup against a Bears defense that has given up a league high 497 receiving yards to opposing running backs this year. So it's a really good matchup, and Kamara has just become so important in this passing game. Like he seems to have a big role in it every single week.
I like it a lot. I like that prop a lot. I like the Saints. I mean, I think it's, as of right now, we'll see where we're going to be here in the next 15 minutes. But I mean, I think Saints -3 and taking the Bucks from 2.5 and giving them 8.5 and Tampa on the road at +8.5 very well might be the Wong teaser that I jump in with. There's so many games that qualify though, just given the numbers. I mean, the totals are so low today. It's unbelievable when you look at the total. I mean, there's only one total over 50, and that's the Sunday night game, which we know that primetime unders are consistently hitting at like a 75% clip. So I'm not sure I want to go and bet the over for Buffalo and Cincinnati. And then everything else is basically 46.5 or lower today in the NFL. This game between Miami and Kansas City was 50.5 or 51.5 at closed. I thought the under was the play, but we'll see here. Miami is driving down 21-14 with 6 to play in the fourth quarter. So we'll get to 42. We're not getting to 50. So the under looks pretty safe, barring something really crazy happening here in Germany. So I thought the under was the play in that game as well. I didn't bet it, but I just took Miami +1.5. It was money. I should have same game teased it is what I should have done, but I didn't do that. Before we get to the afternoon slate, let me tell you guys about a new contest we got going on here. If you want a chance to win a premium 1-year sub to BettingPros, your place to start betting smarter, not harder. You need to subscribe to the BettingPros YouTube channel. Do it right now. Comment below on this video, and that's it. We will be announcing a winner right here on this channel. Make sure that you turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when the new episodes are up, and we can tell you who wins so you guys can go and claim your prize, 1 free year of BettingPros Premium. Just comment underneath this video and you are entered and you are good to go for a year, potentially for free, for BettingPros Premium, that upgrade. All right, to the late slate we go. Colts and the Panthers. Pat, last week, the betting public, they all ran and took the Texans. All the pros bet the Panthers. Panthers won the game 15-13. Everyone was slapping themselves on the back. Look at us. Look at us. What do you make of this game? This is a hard one to call here.
Yeah, the Colts are so unpredictable, Matt, that I cannot touch a side on a Colts game anymore. The Colts and Saints, I've been vexed by those two teams so much that I just can't bet either side with them. But I do really like the over in this game, Matt. This is one of my favorite plays of the week. The Colts have been such a reliable over team. They've gone over the total in 4 of their last 5. The average point total in a Colts game this season has been 54.3 points. And 6 of the last 8 Colts games have gone over 50. So I'm going to ride the trends here and take the over. They play at a breakneck pace under Shane Steichen. Fewest seconds between snaps on offense of any team in the NFL. So they're number 1 in pace. And I think the Panthers can generate enough offense to keep this point total high. So I really like the over here.
21-14 here with the Chiefs, 4th and 26 at about the midfield spot for the Dolphins. So they got to punt the ball back. They have 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning to go here with 4:22. So there's a shot they'll get the football back if they could hold down Patrick Mahomes. My 17.5 looks pretty good here from a second half perspective, coming in and betting that. But we'll see if the Dolphins can get the football back, and they're going to pin the Chiefs at the 10-yard line. So long way to go for Patrick Mahomes here in the fourth quarter over in Germany. So if you're on money line or plus 1.5, it's live. Let's see what happens here with this drive with the Chiefs. If they can burn the clock and maybe not give the football back to Miami, or will the Dolphins have a chance to tie it and send the game into overtime? Giants versus the Vegas Raiders. Only thing I'm doing in this game is that Aiden O'Connell is playing quarterback, and Aiden O'Connell will throw a pick in this game, and I'm going to lay the juice at minus 130. I don't care. We saw Aiden O'Connell play one game in the NFL so far this year, and that was against the Chargers, and it was an absolute disaster, Pat. I mean, this kid, this is the age-old thing where a kid plays in the preseason, and he looks good, and everybody's like, oh, we got a guy. And then he plays in the regular season, and the game is way too fast, and he can't keep up with it. The Raiders are not going to play Jimmy Garoppolo because if he gets hurt, they owe him $11.5 million. They have fired everyone. The talk of the town here, I tell you, everyone thinks the Raiders are winning this game because of Antonio Pierce's rah-rah speech stuff that he's doing here. And that, you know, Max Crosby went to social media and was like, get your popcorn ready. Something special is going to happen. The last time this happened, when the Raiders fired somebody, they went to the playoffs. They're not going to the playoffs this year. But what about winning this game here against the Giants?
Yeah, I took the Giants plus 3.5 on Monday, Matt, because I love fading Josh McDaniels. Right? Now I'm actually worried about this bet a little bit. Now, even with the 2 extra points, since it's down to 1.5 now, like I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders did come out and play their tails off for Antonio Pierce just to try to prove that Josh McDaniels was the problem here. So, like as it stands, I kind of no longer want anything to do with this game. Like if I'd never cash out a bet I've already made it, like, pennies on the dollar. But man,
I mean, you could middle it though. I mean, you could lay 1.5, and if the game falls 3, you win both bets.
I'm thinking of doing that.
It's a way of playing it. I mean, if you're nervous about it, it's a way of playing it. So either, you may lose 0.1 units if it's a blowout one way or the other. But if it does fall, with a 3-point win for the Giants, which could happen, you win both bets.
And like you, I don't have a lot of faith in Aiden O'Connell, but I thought it was sort of interesting that Ian Rappaport reported that the Raiders players were upset when Brian Hoyer got the start against the Bears a few weeks ago because they really thought it should have been O'Connell starting in that game. And so, yeah, I'm like you. I'm not wildly confident in AOC, and I like your interception wager. But yeah, man, I can't take the Raiders in this one.
I can't go anywhere near this game from a side or total perspective. I lean towards the under just because, but 38, yikes, is super, super low. Okay, so we're starting the day with 2 good teams playing. We're going to end the day with 4 good teams playing. Dallas and Philadelphia. It's the marquee matchup here in the afternoon slate. 46.5 is the total. The number is 3. It has not moved. It should not move. It's the right number. I lean Cowboys. I didn't bet it. I couldn't pull the trigger at the end of the day because everyone is on the Eagles, and I'm sitting there on an island going, okay, maybe I'm dead wrong, so I avoided it. Who wins, Eagles or Cowboys?
Like you, I'm leaning towards the Cowboys.
Did we lose Pat?
Like getting off. Yeah. Hey, am I back?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you're back. Hi. Thank you. Okay, good. Cowboys.
Right.
Yes.
Sorry about that, Matt. Yeah, I like the Cowboys in the points here. Small lean. I think the line's pretty good for the most part, but like the Eagles just have not been sharp enough on offense to make me confidently want to take them laying a field goal.
Yeah, I'm with you. This is going to be a heck of a game. This is an in-game bet for me. I got to see whether the Cowboys can move the football consistently and what Dak Prescott looks like. Far too often, Dak on the road in these big situations does not play well, and he's the reason why his team struggles offensively. He can't find open receivers. He turns the football over. So to me, I got to watch and see. Like, this is the beauty of in-game wagering. We don't need to take a position pre-game. We can wait and see what the Cowboys look like before we jump in. So I'm going to wait on that. 4th and 1. It looks like the Chiefs are going to punt here with 2:36 to play. Dolphins live coming up, and more Man, Travis Kelce just had himself a bad day in Germany. They won't let him do anything. It's because Taylor's not there. We all know the reason why T's not doing anything. It's because his boo is somewhere in New York. Yeah, we all know that narrative, right? Buffalo ends the day on the road at Cincinnati. It was -1.5 at open. It's 2.5 now. I've teased this up to +8.5. It's the other side of my teaser. I'm going Buffalo +8.5. Ravens pick here for that, but Cincinnati win this game. It feels like the Bengals win, but not by a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, this line is really interesting, Matt. The Bengals suddenly do look like the Bengals again, which it's great. I mean, as bad as they look coming out of the gates this season, but the Bills, they have not been able to get any decisive wins even against these easy opponents. I mean, we talked about that loss they had in New England. They needed to survive the final play of the game to beat the Giants at home. Weren't really impressive in their victory over the Buccaneers. So the momentum does seem like it's with the Bengals, but man, getting points with a team as good as the Bills, and if you tease it up like that, I feel pretty good about that. Like, I don't think the Bengals are going to run off the Bills here.
No, I also think that, I mean, I really, really, really like the Bengals and the Ravens, but in this game, I think this is a coin flip. Like, this is maybe who has the ball last. This might be a really fun football game to watch when we finally might get a good primetime Sunday night football game between these two AFC powers. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This is good. This is going to be fun. Dolphins have the football back. They're driving 15-yard run by Raheem Mostert. The biggest change in this football game in the second half has been the running attack for the Dolphins. They have finally been able to run the football. We hit the 2-minute warning. Miami trying to go and tie this game and send it into overtime. So from here on out, they're going for it on 4th down. So it's 4-down territory for the rest of the way for the Miami Dolphins here, trying to tie and send the game to overtime with a whole lot of momentum. It would be 21 points in the first half for the Kansas City Chiefs, 21 points in the second half for the Miami Dolphins, and we decide the game in overtime, which, again, I'm totally angry that this game's over in Europe and being played in Germany, because this is a hell of a football game and a matchup that should have been played here. But, unfortunately it was not. Okay. Let's talk quickly about some other bets you like. So we talked about the Patriots. You like the Colts Panthers under, right?
Colts Panthers over, Matt.
Over. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah. We talked about how the Colts, their average game is going over 53 points this year. They've been a reliable over team. So I like the over here.
And this in the under, we talked about you like the Seahawks Ravens under, which I agree with you. I like that under as well. Which prop? So we did not talk about Gardner Minshew over 230 passing yards today.
Yeah, we have not talked about that one. Minshew has averaged in his 4 starts this season 40.8 pass attempts per game and 268.5 passing yards. And those starts have come against the Ravens, Jaguars, Browns, and Saints, all of whom are in the top 8 in DVOA against the pass. So now he actually gets an easier matchup against a Panthers defense that's 14th in DVOA against the pass and has the 23rd ranked opponent passer rating. So easier matchup. Oh, and no JC Horn for the Panthers, their best cornerback. So I do think with the brisk pace the Colts like to play at, a lot of plays, a lot of pass attempts from Minshew, I think he goes over this number pretty easily.
I thought about betting Jonathan Taylor's rush prop today. It was pretty low. It was like 67.5 yards today. Do you think they'll try to establish the run with him? Because it's been obviously a two-man backfield. But do they throw more given what you talked about with the injuries in the secondary for Carolina?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Carolina pass defense is bad, but boy, their run defense is even worse. So I like that a lot. It's just, I don't know why after the great first half that Taylor had last week, they only ran him like a couple of times in the second half and let Moss take over. It's still kind of a split backfield. But Taylor did have more snaps than Moss last week, even if they wound up having the same amount of carries. So I do like that bet just because with this Panthers defense, I think Taylor could go over that in like 10 or 12 carries.
We talked about Kamara, but your last one, Kenneth Walker, under 51.5 rushing yards. Not a lot of Walker today?
Yeah, he has been dealing with a calf injury, and those can be kind of tricky. And Seattle really managed it last week. They actually gave Zach Charbonnet more snaps, 34 for him, only 24 for Walker. Walker had 8 carries. He did gain 66 yards on those 8 carries. But difficult road matchup this week against the Ravens, whose run defense is really good, 5th in DVOA. And I do think we're going to see more of Charbonnet this week, some sort of Charbonnet Walker, like 50-50 split. So, yeah, I think Walker goes under 51.5 rushing yards.
So we talked about Miami, the Patriots, and my teaser. We've not talked about Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley over 22.5 receiving yards here at -120 up against this Raiders defense. I think you're going to see a lot of aggressive play defensively here, and I think it could be a dink and dunk day for this offense. Now, the Giants offense is all dink and dunk. Everything they do is dink and dunk, really. But what do you make of Barkley being involved in the passing attack here? Maybe some screens to Barkley, letting him pick up from first downs, catching the football.
Yeah, they are hell-bent on putting the game into his hands, it seems like, Matt. With the usage he got, I mean, almost 40 carries last week. I just hope the guy survives based on his recent injury history. So, yeah, like any overs with Saquon, I think are pretty good bets.
And then finally, TJ Hawkinson over 48.5 receiving yards here. I think when you have the quarterback situation that we're going into here, I like to look at tight ends. It's the same thing with the Packers. It's like I look at tight ends going, all right, when you have a quarterback who needs help, generally speaking, the quarterback's eyes go to the center of the field. And Hawkinson's been a pretty big weapon, obviously, for this offense with Kirk Cousins. But what do you make of Hawkinson today going over 48.5?
I like it for the reason you just mentioned, Matt, and that it's inexperienced quarterbacks tending to lean on their tight ends and look to the middle of the field rather than the boundaries. So, you do worry a little bit about the quality of the targets that Hawkinson is going to get. But if I had to bet this one, yeah, I would side with you and go over here.
His reception number was 4.5 heavily juiced to the over or 5.5 heavily juiced to the under. And I couldn't figure out, I wanted to bet because I think you're right about that. Like, is it just like a 5-yard reception, 5-yard reception? So I thought about doing the receiving prop, but like I couldn't lay the juice at like -150 on the over, and I couldn't lay the juice like -150 on the under. Oh, that's a major miscommunication. Wow, that could have been a touchdown. Tua totally out of sync with it. Who was that? Was that Waddle? Man, he had a receiver wide open, and he thought he was going to break the route off on 3rd and 10. It's a 4th and 10 coming up here for this defense, and the Chiefs will look to just, if they can't convert this, the Chiefs will wind up taking knees and winning this game 21-14. So my initial bet looks like it's going to fail if they don't get this, and then my for halftime bet will make up for it here a little bit with the 17.5 that I took from Miami. But man, I don't know. There's certain teams in the NFL that the Chiefs, the Eagles, like they just win, and I give them credit, but they don't look fun or great doing it. They're just sort of like they win, but they don't win it in a way that you're like, man, that team's really good. Like how the Niners were winning games earlier this year when they were fully healthy. It was like, man, that team's really good. Not seeing it so much out of either the Eagles or the Chiefs. That could be your Super Bowl for all I know, though. That could be what happens here in Vegas. All right, finally, before we go, the Wong teaser. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the 9, and I'm going to tease down to 3 for New Orleans, and I'm going to take Tampa from 2.5. You can get 3 at some books, but 2.5 and pull them up to 8.5 here. Which side beats me? Tampa plus 8.5 or the Saints -3?
I think it would be Tampa blowing that one, if anyone, Matt. But I do like that. I think that is a good combination of teams to take for this one.
I just can't see. I like the Texans. I don't think they're going to wind up blowing out anybody.
Same.
And I know people who like the Bucs to win the game outright. They think that this is just a chance for Tampa to go in there on the road, and inexperienced team, turnovers, their defense with experience, good defensive coordinator, confusing a young quarterback, causing picks and interceptions and whatnot. So, oh my gosh. Game over. Tua misses the snap. It goes back 10 yards. He falls on it. Minute to play. 1 timeout for Miami left, and the Miami Dolphins will lose 21-14 here to the KC Chiefs. My gosh, you have the football in your hands. You have 2 horrible mistakes on 3rd and 4th downs. Again, like this is what I mean. I'm not impressed by the Chiefs with this win. We learned a lot about the Dolphins today. We learned a lot about this team and Mike McDaniel and where this team is right now. I hate these games in Europe. I really do. You just never know what team's going to show up and how it's going to go. Pat, great working with you. Thank you for being here. We appreciate the time as always. He's Pat Fitzmaurice. I am Matt Perrault. If you've not downloaded the BettingPros app, do so right now. It is free to download. You guys can track picks and plays. You can sync all your sports books. You can view your performance across sports, bet types, and books. You can follow users who are hot, and you can see how your instincts are matching up with others. Download the Betting Pros app right now, free to download. Back next week for week number 10. Best of luck for all your bets, picks, and plays, folks. For Pat Fitzmaurice, I'm Matt Perrault. Talk next week here on the Betting Pros YouTube channel.